Welcome to Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. This morning, we're going to talk about the LM Montgomery Tag. As you know, she is most famous for her Anne of Green Gables series, which I loved as a child. I even remember having the Anne of Green Gables cookbook. I can't find it anymore, but I remember having that as a child and loving it. So, needless to say, Anne was one of my childhood favorites. So, let's do the tag. And the tag was part of LM Montgomery May. And it was started by Chantel Reads All Day. I will link their channels down below. Can't remember them all off the top of my head. So with that, on to the tag. First question. And they're based on characters in her books. So the first question is Anne from Anne of Green Gables. Anne is an orphan who has long wished for a family of her own and a place to belong. Share a book that has a heartwarming found family element. This, believe it or not, was fairly difficult for me. I think we all find families on a regular basis. You are born into a family, you find another family when you meet your spouse and you get married, you find a family when you find your close group of friends. So we all have found family as life goes on. So this was a hard choice. I eventually settled on The Lost Ticket by Freya Sampson. This was an impulse read at the end of last year. And what? Come here. So we all found families on a regular basis. And The Lost Ticket is about a woman who, I believe she's in her 30s. And hi, Kahlua. You come to say hello to the nice people? Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Say hi. She is separated from her husband. She slinks back home to London to live with her sister and brother-in-law and help out with their kids while she gets her life back on track and together. And so she used to aspire to be an artist, and one day she gets a bus ticket and she's going to go downtown and go to the art museum, and she meets this terrific, lonely old man who tells her his life story about how he rides the same bus every day looking for the love he lost 60 years ago, and his greatest wish is to meet her again. His story draws her in, and soon she is completely involved in his search for his lost love. This is such an amazing, heartwarming story of the power of love and how it takes hold and it doesn't let go even with the passage of time. I loved this book. I was surprised at how much I loved it. To be honest, I was very hesitant to pick it up. It's recently published. It's recently published by I want to say Simon & Schuster. So I didn't have any faith that this was going to be a book I would enjoy. I was completely wrong. This book is amazing. There's romance in it, there's found family, there's finding yourself, there's what happens when you begin to realize your memory is going and you're running out of time. This is a beautiful love story. I have no other words for it. And I will read another book by Freya Sampson without hesitation. And that surprised me. Second prompt, Emily of the New Moon. Emily was a character that Ellen Montgomery said was most like herself. Which literary character do you most identify with? I'm taking literary loosely here. I just chose from fiction. I chose Danielle Parker from In Piece by Piece by Laura Bradford. I got this as a NetGalley ARC in 2020. It is reviewed on my blog. I will post a link to the review. This is a book about a mother who has the most awful thing happen to her possible. Her husband and her son are killed in an automobile accident, and this is the story of how she comes back from handling that grief. And unexpectedly, it helped me. Many of you will not know this. Dave and I had multiple miscarriages that grief and guilt are life-consuming if you let them, and it's very hard to let go of it, especially if you never end up being successful, and we never were. And even though this was at least a decade after our last miscarriage, this story broke me. It's breaking me now. It helped me process a lot of the grief and guilt. Don't get me wrong, that it's still there, but it isn't as likely to blindside me on a commercial or a program or a book as it once was. And for that alone, I will recommend this book every day, all day. It was the book I needed, and for that, I will be eternally grateful. Okay. Prompt 3. Rilla. Rilla of Ingleside is the book. Rilla's story takes place during World War I. What's a major world event that has taken place during your lifetime? Recommend a book that includes the event in the same way, or in some way. I have a plethora of major world events to choose from in my lifetime. So I went with the Vietnam War, and I chose Word of Honor by Nelson deMille. He has several books featuring Vietnam vets or going back to Vietnam post-war. And this one is actually dealing with events during Vietnam War. Like all of his writing, it is action, and there is some suspense in it. There's a mystery to be resolved. It is beautifully written, and I can easily recommend everything he's ever written as being worth your time investment. Prompt number 4, Kilmeny. Book is Kilmeny of the Orchard. Kilmeny loves to play the violin. How does music play a role in your life? Playing an instrument, songs that mean a lot to you, etc. So, as a child, my brother and I had to take piano lessons. I don't have a musical bone in my body. Just ask my husband. He will happily tell you that I cannot carry a tune to save my life. So it doesn't really play a large role in my life, to be honest. I don't mind if, I turn on music, but if I don't turn on music, I'm okay with that too. So it's at best a periphery item in my life. It doesn't really play a huge role. Prompt number 5, Sara from The Story Girl. Sara loves to tell stories to anyone who will listen. Share a short story collection that you love. In general, I don't read short story collections. I find them incredibly frustrating. As soon as I'm starting to get into the story, it's over. I know it's on my 2023 reading challenge to read a short story collection. I haven't done so yet. I probably need to get on that sooner rather than later because it's not going to get easier for me as the year goes on. But in general, I don't read short stories, which is why it's on my challenge. Prompt number 6, Pat, from the book Pat of Silverbush. Pat is a homebody. She loves her home and her family and has no desire to ever leave them. What does home mean to you? Is there a literary home you would love to live in? Honestly, homebody is the perfect word to describe me. Everyone and everything I love is at home. If I need it, it's at home. If I want it, it's at home. I am perfectly happy at home. I truly, truly am. So, literary home? This is going to sound incredibly weird if you know me in real life. And it's thanks to Pepper Basham and Jenny Proctor. The mountains of North Carolina in general. The way those two women write North Carolina, you fall in love with it, and you can just picture yourself hanging out there. I cannot. If Dave came home today and said, "Tammy, we're moving to North Carolina," I'd be like, "No, we're not. It is east of the Missouri River, and I told you when we moved back from Pennsylvania, I was never moving east of the Mississippi, let alone the Missouri." So I would veto that in a heartbeat. I don't care how much buckets of money someone threw at him. No. Literary world, I would go to North Carolina. If it was a Pepper Basham or a Jenny Proctor story, I would not think twice about it. I wouldn't hesitate. That says a lot about their writing style, because I am not an east of the Missouri River kind of girl. So my hat's off to Jenny Proctor and Pepper Basham for making me fall in love with North Carolina. Prompt number 7, I'm looking at my laptop, sorry, is Valency from the book The Blue Castle. Valency is a character who longs to push past family pressures and expectations and carve out her own path to find happiness. What's a book that inspired you to overcome difficulty in your life? Again, I hate to be repetitive, but it is Piece by Piece by Laura Bradford. I can't honestly tell you that without having read that book, I would have come to the peace I have gotten to in my life about the miscarriages. And that is the most powerful thing any book can do for you, is to bring you to that point in your life. Prompt number 8, Jane from the book Jane of Lantern Hill. Jane desperately wants a second chance for her parents, a chance to be part of a family where both of her parents are present. What's a book that you DNF'd but connected with when you gave it a second chance? As we all know, I DNF books and move on. I do not remember DNFing this book. I did DNF it, however, when it was a NetGalley arc and it wasn't my thing. I picked it up from the library, I want to say this year. It's The Girl in His Shadow by Audrey Blake. I loved this book on when I checked it out from the library. It obviously fit the mood I was in, and I can't imagine why I DNF'd it when it was at ARC. It isn't going to change my DNFing. No, it's not. But does it tell me that maybe I should put some books in a soft DNF state? Yes, I should. I don't generally do that, so I need to start soft DNFing books and not always hard DNFing books. Okay, next prompt is from Magic for Marigold. Character is Marigold. Marigold is one of the few Montgomery protagonists who we only experience in her childhood. She is very imaginative and loves the outdoors. What were some of your favorite things to do as a child? If you had a favorite childhood book that fed your imagination, please share that as well. I have been a bookworm all of my life. If you watched my intro video, which I will link down below, I've had a library card since I was, I think, two and a half. And I have read all of my life. I cannot remember not reading ever. That is, it was my favorite thing to do as a child. It was my favorite thing to do as an adult. It has been reading, and I don't remember rereading books, even when I was very little, and I loved something. I don't remember rereading books because I had so much I wanted to read. I didn't have time to reread what I had already read, which is a habit that has continued throughout my life. So I don't think I had a favorite childhood book. If pressed, I would say the Nancy Drew series by Carolyn Keene, and probably Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Those are the ones that are most likely. I've always been a voracious reader. My nose is always buried in a book. Always. It's always. Prompt 10 from the book A Tangled Web, Aunt Becky. Aunt Becky is the matriarch of Penhallow Dark family, who causes quite a stir over who she will leave her prized heirloom jug to. Tell us a book you have read that has a lot of family drama. And don't all books have a lot of family drama? I chose an unexpected choice here, and that is Beneath the Scarlet Sky by Mark Sullivan. And the family drama, it comes in spurts in this book. If you've read it, you will know. The protagonist is forced into the Nazi army by his family. And as the war progresses, other members of his family who don't understand that he was forced are just furious with him over it and unforgiving, and it extends to his friends as well. And so that is just family drama on an epic scale as far as I'm concerned. It forced to fight for a side of the war who you abhorred by your parents, and your little brother can't stand you as a result. So there's a lot of points in that book that are just filled with family drama, and it was family drama that was based in reality, which is just heartbreaking. So, and the last prompt for this book tag was to tag an L.M. Montgomery lover. So I think I am going to tag Carmen Jane and book lover Amanda. Those two I know love Anne of Green Gables. So we'll tag those two. If they've already done it, then they've already done it. I missed the video and I apologize, ladies. If you haven't done it and you love L.M. Montgomery, please feel free to share this tag, make your own, leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you here later at the Protagonist Pub.